What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tapping into another episode of the Mindful Moneymakers podcast, where we break down all the tips, tricks, and mindset shifts you want to make if you want to live a life by design instead of by default. Today, we have the special pleasure of bringing to you another leader, another superstar, another powerful person who is leading the way and giving you permission to believe in yourself. Today, we're talking with the author and the top 10 finalists of the Author Academy Awards for his self-help book, Is Your Dream Really Worth It? Today, Tony Shavers III continues to be a defining voice in finding success within identity. His spirit, inspiration, and life experience have led him on a journey of self-discovery where time and time again, he has practiced his passion and gift in life, which is helping others. From a young age, Tony has had a gift for making a real difference in people's lives. His power comes from being a voice for those who have none. And he's found that he's had a real power in what he said and did and knew he needed to share it with the world. Today, we're talking with Tony Shavers the third. We're so excited. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today. How are you?
Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm excited to hopefully drop some gems over the conversation, but doing well so far, so good.
Hope y'all hear that. Get ready for these gems to be dropping out the speakers. Hope y'all got y'all pens and paper ready, because we're gonna be talking about how to live a fulfilled, meaningful life here today. Before we jump in, I do want to give you an opportunity. I know I introduced you pretty briefly, but your accolades, are pretty impressive. So I want to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit more about your journey, where you got started, where you now, and where you headed.
Yeah. Oh God, where do I start? I think the defining moment, for me was in the fourth grade. It's when I started writing creatively, started writing poetry, if you will. And I wrote my first poem about farm animals and global warming. I don't know why those two were important to me in the fourth grade, but they were. And I still remember the first line of the poem. It said, "I'm a chicken, I will not hatch." And that, but I tell that because that really set the foundation for me throughout my journey. What I didn't know was that was going to be the gift, if you will, that was kind of implanted in my spirit, that was going to guide me throughout so many different areas of my life as I got older. So the creative writing has been a foundation for me, literally since the fourth grade. And over these last several years, almost 30 now, so do the math.
Mhm.
uh, you know, my journey in so many ways has led back to using writing as a vehicle. Um, Throughout my professional life, I've navigated several careers working in the corporate world, working in the nonprofit space, working in higher education. And then it's my personal life, just dealing with, a former parent who was incarcerated, learning to kind of embrace the fullness of myself and embrace my own sexual orientation, and just the everyday ebbs and flows of life, right? Being able to just deal with everything. But excited to see kind of where I am now, because it's been a roller coaster, but one that I'm happy for, and I'm glad to kind of be where I am today.
Yes, indeed. And it's such an honor and a blessing to have the opportunity to have you share your unique experience, with us today. I can't thank you enough. So thank you again. And you said two things that are really interesting to me. Now, first, I'm interested in knowing a little bit more about your book, being that the answer to me as a mindset coach, as somebody that's on a mission to inspire and empower 1 million people to live a life by design and then by default, the question that is posed is like obvious to me. So I'm like very intrigued as to what inspired you to write the book, and I want to talk about that. But before we do, your poem from the fourth grade, so you've been writing for years and years and years. Now I'm even more intrigued by the chicken that will not hatch, and I don't know what to talk about first. So help me out. Help me out.
Yeah, we'll migrate to the book. I think you'll find a kick out of that story and how everything got started. So funny enough, For me, creative writing, it comes naturally. It's one of those things where I can write a poem in 5 minutes if the inspiration hits, and I've done that. Some of the best poems I've performed and gotten published over the years have been written in like 10 minutes, where like the inspiration comes and I just get my pen and paper and the words just flow out of me. And that's what happened on February 22nd, 2017 at 2:22 in the morning. Kid you not, I woke up out of my sleep. I'm a believer in Christ and believe that that was like kind of one of the divine moments, if you will. And I woke up not planning on a book, didn't want to, thought about writing a book at that time, but I woke up at 2:22 in the morning and literally grabbed my pen, grabbed my paper, sat on my couch in the living room, and just started writing for like almost 3 hours straight. By the time I stopped, I read over what I wrote and I said, wow, like you got to continue this. Like, this is good. This is good.
Wow.
Didn't know what direction it was taking, but I knew it was going down. We were venturing down the self-help realm. And it was like, okay, Tony, this book, what, anybody can write a self-help book, but how am I going to make sure that I tie my own personal experiences in here to where the average person who may be, looking for a career change or trying to jumpstart their entrepreneurial journey, who are just having difficulty and trouble, just, understanding what goes into that journey, what that looks like. So when I wrote the book at 2:22 in the morning, what I did was I was just really intentional about what are the things that I've done that have gotten me to where I am today, that takes the average person years to do. How can I write this in a way that's inspirational and motivational, but also doesn't preach to you either? So the self-help book is really a twist, if you will, because the book is guiding you not only through my own personal experiences, but you have the opportunity to also do some self-reflecting on your own.
Mhm.
So the book is interactive, like you're answering self-reflective questions, you're doing a vision board in the book. You're really looking introspective to kind of ask yourself those, what I call uncomfortable but necessary questions that are going to really help you elevate to kind of where you aspire to be.
Right. That's dope. One of the most important questions I think is right in the title. Is your dream really worth it? What would you think is your hope for the reader's answer to that question? Like, how does that come about? How does that play out throughout the entire book?
Yeah. So before I answer that, I think it's important to know how that title came to be. Um, I highly recommend for all you guys listening right now, go to Netflix, watch the movie Zootopia. It's a kid's movie.
Mhm.
And in the beginning of the movie, basically the premise is there's a bunny. She wants to be the first cop in her town. And her parents tell her, no, you can't do that. Stay here with us. Don't venture off to go after your dreams. Like, you'll never be a cop. You'll never go down the path that you want. And the book had already been like completed. I already finished it. And I so happened to turn the movie on and I paused it and I said, wow, like her dream was really worth it to go after the goal that she had. And I said, wait a second, like I think I like that. Like, let me make this the title of my book. And so, Is Your Dream Really Worth It? Discover Your Passion, Purpose, and Plan became the title for the book. And I think what I aspire for, the thousands of readers who already read my book so far, and those who are going to read it in the future, is, to answer that question with like, is my dream really worth it? That I will do whatever it takes to go after pursuing it. Not even so much accomplishing it, but just the fact that you're going to be in pursuit of it. I think it's one thing where we tend to go, okay, I want to accomplish these dreams, and that can take you into a world of, you know, that you're not ready for. But my thing is give yourself the permission to pursue it at least, right?
Mhm.
Even if you fail at that first dream, the fact that you've actually gone after to go down that road, it gives you a level of thick skin in the game, if you will.
Mhm.
Because you may reach the end of that and go, well, this didn't work out, but what did I learn in the process?
Mhm.
And that's kind of been like what my whole hope around the book has been, is like at the end of the day, you're going to discover things about yourself that you didn't know were like innately within you.
Mhm. Right. And that's dope. And I want to take time to echo some of the things that you said, because I think it's really important for us to all experience this mindset shift away from achievement, and success being directly attached to achievement. Because I've learned through Tony Robbins that success is actually the progress towards a worthy ideal. It might not have been Tony Robbins, but somebody. Either way, success is the progress towards a worthy ideal. And I realized that we as human beings, we like the creative process. We're inspired by creating, not so
Right.
much as achieving. Achievement is great, having accolades and having certificates and a bunch of
Right.
money and all that stuff is awesome. But you can look at people that have achieved so much and then stopped, haven't figured out what's next, to see that internally they start to disintegrate, right?
Right.
So I think that by shifting the mindset from achievement to the process, we'll find the motivation, we'll find the inspiration to take one step, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the goal. The journey is the destination, right?
Right.
So I just wanted to echo that really quickly before we talk about your journey, right? So you've gone from a fourth grader writing about chickens to being, an accomplished author who's helping people find their purpose, their plan, and their pa-
Passion.
passion, purpose, and
Plan.
plan, right? In that order. um, what are some of the biggest mindset shifts that you think you needed to have along your journey to get you to where you are?
That's a good one. So I'll talk about it more so from my like career progression, because that was like a big one for me. So I work full time, and I also am in the entrepreneur space as well. So for those who are like, hey, can I do both? Yes, you can. I love the work that I do in my career as a fundraiser, and working in development and fundraising. But I also love the opportunity in the entrepreneur space that I have to be able to do a lot more than what I could do in the 9 to 5 arena. So I've been a component of you can do both. But with that comes uh, a lot in that territory, because you have to learn time management. You have to learn that mindset shift, right? And so for me in my career, one of the things that my goal was by 30. I said by 30, I want to have a 6-figure income. That was in my career. I knew I was capable of that. Um, and when I first started in fundraising and development, you don't go to school for this. So I got my degree in sociology. I wanted to be a social worker, follow down the footsteps of my mom. But life said, no, you're not doing that. We're going to take you in a whole different direction. So I literally work in a field that you don't get a degree in. So at one point, I did question, like, did I waste the years of college getting my degree, going into $50,000 of debt to be in a career that doesn't require a degree, that you don't go to school for it. And the way that I fell into it was I was a part of a nonprofit organization, and the program had done so much in my life that I couldn't complete the program due to college, but I wanted to give back in a way that was meaningful to me. And I woke up one morning and I said, you know what? I have two things to my advantage. Number one, I had a network, and I take relationship building very seriously. It's been the foundation of everything that I do. I believe that your network can take you places you couldn't even fathom. And my goal is, like, how do I get to you and then to your network, right? Because behind one person is 100 people that you don't know.
Right.
And I've been blessed and fortunate to have people in my network and in my circle who introduced me to some phenomenal people. And number two, I knew that I had creative writing in my back pocket. So I
Mhm.
wrote my own fundraising letter to fundraise money for the organization. I had a goal of $10,000. I raised like $7,000 on my own at 19 years old.
Mhm.
And I said, well, I want to make a career out of this. Like, if I can do this, I'm sure I can do more. But, when it comes to that, you have to have the experience, right? Oh, you need to have 10 years experience in the field. Well, I didn't. I was a 19-year-old. I'm like, this is what I have. This is what I can do. And if you show me, if you let me, I can show you better than I can tell you. And that was like my whole mindset that I carried with me throughout my career. And I had to go down, the development assistant, climb that ladder to now being a fundraiser now. And along that journey, there were kind of 5 things that kind of kept me grounded, if you will, because I knew that it wasn't a matter of if I would be a fundraiser, it's just a matter of when, right? And those 5 for me, what I'll share with you, were things that I still carry with me till this very day, both in my entrepreneurial journey and in my career. And the first one was really around kind of what I call like, what's your second layer why, right? Diving deeper than just the surface level. For me, it wasn't, I want to make a 6-figure income in my, job so that I could just gloat and have all this money. Like, no, what was behind that was I have, a passion for giving back financially to organizations. That's a deep passion of mine for philanthropy, being able to buy a house one day, having an income to do that. And also, not having more months and money anymore, because I've been there too, right?
Right.
The second one was around kind of embracing the temporary struggles. I knew that I wasn't going to be a development assistant for years. And what, 5 years in my career as a fundraiser, I went from a development assistant to an assistant director of donor engagement, which normally will take several years for someone to kind of go through that process. And I jumped jobs, left from one job, went to the next one, got an increase in pay, did it again, and kept doing that because I believe that I had it within me to make the difference that I wanted, which then leads me into like, how did I create this like unshakable belief in my abilities? I had to really look within myself and go, I have the skill set, right? And nobody can take that from me. There's what I call a special anointing over my life that nobody can take from me. And I showed that and showed up in my interviews where people are like, well, how old are you? How are you doing all these things? Like, I haven't done half things you've done, but like, you're a lot further ahead than most people that I know. And I said, not to sound braggy or cocky or anything, but with more so just a confidence that I had to instill within myself, that I didn't care if I was interviewing with someone who was 30 years my senior. I'm going to show you that we're on the same level here. And that confidence is going to show up, throughout this process. And then when those doors were closing, when I didn't get the jobs that I interviewed for, right? Because everything was not always sunshine and rainbows, right? There were times where you go through the interview process, 4 or 5 interviews, interview assignments, they don't pay you for that. You wasted all your time and you don't get the job. And so I've had that happen. I've had those doors closed. And one thing, the other thing, the fourth thing is around blooming where you're planted, right? That was a big one for me. My mom kind of instilled that in me very early on. It's like, when those doors close, because they will close, when those doors don't open for you, bloom where you are, because there's a reason that those doors are being closed right now. There's a reason that those doors are not being open for you right now, because you're not meant to walk through it. And it's not the right time right now. And so through that process, I also had to realize that I had to be willing to kind of take this journey along my career, along my entrepreneurial journey alone, right? And knowing that it's okay to walk this journey alone, so that I didn't depend on, what others had to say about, oh, Tony, you shouldn't pursue, a new job. You've only been at this job for a year. You shouldn't quit right now. You should do 3 to 5. No. I'm leaving and I'm going to get this next job. And I did. Right. And so not being able to listen to the naysayers, if you will, because you're going to have those. They're going to show up as, not in my personal experience, but they're going to show up as family. They're going to show up as friends. They're going to show up as people you don't know. They're going to show up on social media. So being able to have that thick skin and go, I'm going to do what's best for me was kind of that, the mindset, if you will, that I had to develop along my journey.
Right. And it's a powerful one. It's one that people avoid. And it's so hard to become aligned with for multiple reasons. One, I think it is the external you know, the external influences that we have, our friends, our family, and society that's telling us what we should and shouldn't think. And the second one is just a lack of awareness, self-awareness, to where we don't even know what is aligned for us. And I think that the lack of that inner clarity makes us a little bit more reliant, dependent, and desperate for answers. And we get that from everybody around us. So I think that it's important to acknowledge, you know, the importance of saying the importance of being able to turn down the volume of that outside noise and that outside chatter, and give yourself the opportunity to let that inner voice rise up, because it's not gonna compete. It's not gonna compete with the other voices. And then once you do build a relationship with it, it becomes so much easier to stand on your own 2 feet, and, you know, have boundaries and have a clear vision and have the consistency and the confidence ultimately that you
Absolutely.
need to move forward powerfully. So that's super dope. That's super inspirational, and that's something that I want to condone and I want to invite people to practice. I want to talk about you in the entrepreneurial space, and what you've created as far as a business for yourself.
Yeah. So, it's so funny because I battled for a long time with this like imposter syndrome, if you will, when I was working in my career. When I wrote my book um, back in 2017 and got it published in 2018, I had, people come up to me and say, "Hey, I want to write a book." And I was like, "Okay, well, uh, like I can send you somewhere else. So I can, here are some resources." And I kept sending people away from me. And because there's something within me that was saying, "No, Tony, like you're not ready.
Mhm,
No, Tony, like you can't do this.
mhm,
Tony, you can't teach them because creative writing came easy for you." Like that was like a God-given gift, right?
mhm,
But the people still kept coming. And one day I prayed and I said, God, I don't know what you're doing, but like I need you to stop because I don't want to do this. Like that's not the realm I want to go in. And he kept bringing people, and and one day I said, "You know what? Let me just hear this person out, and let me just see what happens." So I had a client of mine. He reached out and he's like, "Hey, I want to write a book, and I don't know where to start." And like I didn't know where to start either, but I kind of figured it out. Took a bunch of courses, paid for courses I didn't have the money for, but I was
mhm,
like, "I'm going to learn it." And then, when the clients kept coming, I said, maybe there's something here that I should be paying attention to. Like
mhm,
I'm sending thousands of dollars away in business to everybody else to go get, here the client, they want to write a book. Can you help them? And
mhm,
they took them on, and they've gone on to do great things, right?
mhm,
And so I realized that, okay, maybe there's something here that I need to like be obedient to.
mhm,
And so in 2019, I took on my first client to help him publish his self-help book. I'm sorry, his nonfiction book. And what I really, what I enjoyed about the process was this one-to-one coaching that I got to do with him. And it wasn't so much about writing the book, but more so about the person that he became as a result of the book. And it laid the foundation for me because I told all my clients that I work with in the book writing space that you're gonna come out of this a whole different person than you were when you first started. Because I said this is more than just going on the journey of you putting words to paper. You are transforming in front of your very eyes with every word that you write.
mhm,
I've had like crying sessions with my clients. And because, when you're in the nonfiction space, you're talking about some personal things, or in the self-help space, you're still bringing up personal elements about yourself that I kind of help dig out of my clients. And what I realized is that I really enjoyed the one-to-one, mentorship and coaching that I got to do with people. And since then, it's been what, almost like 10 authors who've been on different journeys in their authorship journey that I've got to work with, and it's been one of the most enjoyable experiences of my life to be able to help someone see a dream to fruition. It really just echoes just my whole book title, like, is your dream really worth it, Tony? That you're going to step into yourself and realize that you have something that what people want, and that I had to realize that people connect with you because of who you are. The accolades, the awards, all the things are great, but I really do believe that the connection happened because of the individual.
Mhm.
I can have all the accolades in the world and have no personality, no kind of no qualities or characteristics people were looking for, and they wouldn't work with me. So I had to realize that in addition to the accolades, like no, like the person that I am inside genuinely comes out, and that's what people are attracted to. So it's been a cool ride so far.
That's super dope. And I'm resonating with so many of the things that you said. One of the biggest ones is that, by writing your book, by telling your story, you do transform with every single word. And that's something that kind of took me by surprise writing my first book, that, my book would change me, but it also took on a life of its own, right?
Hmm.
And because of that, your identity shifts. You become a different person. You get to show up as a different person in the world. And in your experience, it's led people to you that, would like support, that would like to follow in your footsteps. I thought it was cute. He was like trying to tell God to stop.
Right.
God is doing what he's supposed to be doing. God, take it easy, relax. Like, I got this. Like,
Right. Right.
that's that. I thought that was funny. But yeah, no, eventually aligning with, I guess, what you believe that you were destined for, that was a divine calling, has turned out to be something magical, not only for
Right.
yourself, but for the people that you've opened yourself up to support. I think that's phenomenal. That's really
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
That's really dope.
Yeah.
What would you, oh, uh, hmm, what would you say is like to work with you?
I would say that it's a very engaging sessions with me or from the book writing space because we go deep based on the topics that you want to write about. I kind of help pull that out of you. And so it's a lot of questions that I'm throwing at you, helping you kind of brainstorm and outline and really holding you by your hand. And like, I'm going to walk with you every single step of the way from the very start to the very end. And I just recently did this with my fiance, helped him to write his first children's book, and you know, throughout that experience with him, like he's always had a goal to write a book, but didn't know where to start or what to do.
Mhm.
Lucky enough, he found me. He got, I would say, the VIP treatment for sure, of course. But I think working with me, it's such an opportunity to to have these really fun and engaging sessions and a place where you could be your full self, show up as your full self, and ask as many questions as you need to. I tell my clients you can ask the same question 20,000 times, and I'm going to answer it the same way, or I'm going to help you go find the answer so that you can then be empowered to do it on your own. Because I believe, I can guide you to the answer, or I can show you where to go find it, how to go get it, and as a result, you can then be empowered to go and find it before coming to ask me again. But if you come back and say, hey, I can't find what you told me to go find, then hey, I'll show you where it is. So I would say that the clients that I've worked with so far, they've all enjoyed just this human nature that I bring to the conversation and to our meetings, weekly when we meet.
That's super dope. Now we're sold. I know that there's people listening right now that can't wait to connect with you. So let's give them what they're looking for and tell us how can we get connected with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, number one, you can find me on my website at tshavers, SHAVERS, tshavers.com. Social media on Instagram, Tony Shavers _3. And I just started TikTok, but TikTok at Tony Shavers _3 as well. Um, and if you're looking to, finally what I say, find your voice, tell your story and share it with the world, then I want to help you do that and guide you through that process. And then in addition to, if you're not looking to write a book, but you just need guidance on building that confidence in yourself, boosting your self-esteem. I'm stepping into the life coaching space now, which I'm really excited about. I believe that the coaching that I've done in the book writing space has prepared me for that. And just my own journey with building my own confidence in myself. It's been a journey for sure. It's what I've been able to do and look forward to stepping more into that space moving forward.
Yes, indeed. So don't hesitate. Check out the links down below in the bio, in the description. Let's
Yes,
connect
yes.
with Tony Shavers today. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I'm super grateful. Before we let you go, I do have one more question for you.
Absolutely.
Right. So the question is, how can anybody listening right now, right? It might be a baby step that they could take right here, right now to live a life a little bit more by design and less by default.
I would ask yourself this question. And the question is, if your life depended on you pursuing your dreams, whatever those dreams may be, what would you do differently than what you're not doing right now? I'll repeat it. If your life depended on you pursuing your dreams, what would you do differently than what you're not doing right now? And every time I've asked that question, it's light the fire under people because you have like your mind is racing 1,000 miles a minute. Take ownership of what you're thinking in that thought process, write everything down. Give yourself like a 5-minute timer. Once that time is up, take a deep breath and then look at like the first like 10 and then circle like the top 3 out of that 10 and figure out what the priority is. It's kind of like that initial step of what I would say to begin with. Otherwise, you're just, well, I could do all these things, and the realistic thing is like you can't, because if you could, you would have done it by now. So just give yourself that space to be vulnerable for a little bit and open yourself up to that question a little bit.
That's super fire. And I bet you didn't mean to hit me like that, but I'm hit. I'm like, what would I be doing if I dream or die, huh? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that, and I invite everybody that's listening right now to take that advice seriously and to have that level of introspection happen in your life, because magical things happen when you build a relationship with yourself and the source and your higher power. That's super dope. I'm so happy that we had this conversation. Thank you
Yes,
again
me
so
too. Me
much.
too.
Celebrating you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Studying
Thank you.
good
Thank
juju.
you.
And to everybody listening, as always, love, be well, and don't forget to have the guts to follow your guts. Peace.